Alright, I'm going to go over how I install the window and the little vent window. I'm going to show you how I install all this, install the regulator, the weather stripping and stuff. One thing I want to say is these are the vertical weather strips that go in here. They go by a few names, and they got these little tabs on them. They're supposed to be 5-inch centers. I bought the $40 set. You can buy the $125 set from Steel Rubber. I mean, Steel makes the best products, and I'm not affiliated with them. I just use them a lot. But so I decided to buy the $40 set instead of the $125 set. You get 4 of these, and they're supposed to fit into your channels. First thing, check these before you put it all together. I did the other door. Somebody's at my front driveway. Did the other door, and I found out these didn't fit, and I had to take the tabs off. Supposed to be 5-inch centers. These are 5 1/16. So by the time you get down to the end, it doesn't fit. You might be able to get 2 in, but you can't get 3. And if you measure the holes, they're 5-inch centers. Go in there and at least try it. Make sure it fits, because these are a tight fit when you go to put them in. And then the last things you put in. You don't want to get it all done and realize you're fighting with it, that you can't get these in because they don't fit. So first thing, first tip, check it. I found out with these they don't fit. What I did with the other door, these clips lock in to certain spots. So there's no way to move them around. You know, you can move it a little bit, but they don't slide enough. I tried it. So I took the clips off, and I just used weather stripping glue and glued it in. I know, yeah. But the other ones, that's the way they were done. A lot of people do it. And when you get screwed up stuff, you need to go reorder. But I think I'll be fine with the way I'm going to do it. So, done with that. So, I went with my regulators. Old regulator. Still would have been good, except it's all chewed up here where the crank handle goes, right? And when they chewed up this bad, I could have fixed it, but sooner or later it's just going to strip. So I decided not to use it. The other one on the other side, this wasn't stripped, but this whole thing wobbled. You can see people use a lot of pressure. And what happened was I decided to replace them. They're 50 bucks. I bought Union Pacific. They seem to be made great. I'm going to find out. I'm going to stick these in and see what happens. But they look great. They're already pre-greased. Everything's brand new on them. So, when you go to put these in, there is a slide rail right here. I don't know if you see that, but there's a slide rail here. And this guy here goes inside that slide rail. If you don't get that, it's not going to move properly. So make sure you get this end into the slide rail. So the fun part is getting it in place. getting the screws in. I finally got the screw lined up right without knocking it out of the slide rail. Problem I'm having between the two is there we go. I got to move the handle a little bit. So if it doesn't fit, you might have to move your handle just to get this to rotate a little bit. Get the second screw in. Problem is I'm right-handed and I'm trying to do this with my left hand. What I got to do here is I put the wrong screw in. I got these screws with lock nuts that I preset and I grabbed the wrong one. This one doesn't have a lock nut on it. So before you get too far, double check to make sure this guy didn't come out. And he didn't. The other thing is, don't forget, you got two screws right here. Now you might have to, what I'm doing is I'm turning the crank and the whole thing's moving because the holes are not aligned up here yet. So you turn the crank handle a little bit and they'll come down. When you tighten these, don't tighten them all the way yet, because you still got to get it to move around a little bit. And you can do that by adjusting the handle. Okay, still got it all four of the screws in. And I'm checking to make sure it's all connected, it's all good. This is another rail that's going to go in here. Motion detected at the front door bell. It's going to go here. There's a roller here and there's a roller here. Now, thing is, once you put this in, if you move up the window up and down, it is going to fall out. It's happened to me a billion times. The other thing is, the holes are offset. Now, with my application, let's see, you can see that? These holes are offset. Now, in my application, the longest side goes here. So when the window goes down, it will screw into this. And it goes between these two rollers. So, roller here, and then there's a track here. This is a track up here that the window's going to go on. And then you have a track here that this bottom roller rolls on. This is the first step to get it somewhat here. You don't really need this in yet, but I'm just showing you, so I'm going to take it back out. Now, a couple of rules of thumb. Some people put the glass in, this glass in first, right? Which is your little window. And then they try to get the other glass in that. I've seen a few ways of doing this over the years. Some people put this window in first, right? And put this in and go ahead and then slide the window down. I got a different way of doing this. Before I get any further, I misplaced my tape and I got to pause. Before you get any further, you want to put some tape here to make sure you protect your paint. All right, down here, there is a ledge that you can drop the window on. You want to drop it down slowly so you can grab it. Believe it or not, I was grabbing it on the frame of the window and I pushed it over all the way to my right facing the window. Now, let me get the other glass. You need to do this in this order, at least for two pieces. For the regulator's got to go in. When this guy goes down, the regulator's fitting in here, between the door and this bar. If you put this in first and try to get that regulator in, you're going to have to take the screws and take this apart because the regulator's not going to fit. The other thing is when you put this guy in, there's an orientation. You notice it's got a little guy here. What I do is I make sure these tabs are facing up and down. The other thing I make sure, because you got to stick it in there and twist it. And sometimes I get it right and sometimes I get it wrong because one way fits and one way don't. You notice I had to pull it back and tip it around to get that tab in. Now that I got this window in and this window in, I'm going to lift this guy up. Two things. Now this is the part where you got to get the window up, try to get these in place, and screw that window in. I'm just trying to get everything ready because this is a pain in the butt. If you don't have everything in place, because I'm doing it by myself. So I'm going to slide this in, and then I'm going to stick the window on top of this. There is a ledge, and I should have shown you. There's a ledge on the window, in the bottom of the window, that's going to sit on top of here. And you're going to line up this hole and screw it in. That's how it locks it all together. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to put this in. Without dropping it. Well, I dropped the window a little further down, but that's okay. Now, what I'm going to do now is pick the window up. Now, hopefully you guys got strong fingernails like me. I put my fingernail in here and I lifted it up. So then, this guy back in there. This guy's going to come up and get in there. There we go. Lining up the holes, just a little bit off, and I'm going to try to get that screw in there without knocking the window off again. So I'm holding it in place. And let's see. First screw's in. It's a lot easier if you don't drop the window when you're trying to put it in. So. I bought a set of these 1/4x20 stainless from Amazon. And that's what I'm using to screw these in with. Using stainless steel screws. What I'm doing now is lining up those clips so I can get the screws in. There's a clip moved on me. I think I got it. And one of the things is I still got everything kind of loose right now. So I got this last screw in, and I got everything still kind of loose because I've not tightened any of the screws super tight yet. So what I got to do now is I still got to put the screws in up here. Make sure this rub is in there right. But I'm going to test the window. You want to make sure the window is all the way up when you tighten these guys. All I'm going to do is take a little pry bar and put a little upwards pressure on these. Make sure the window's in the track over there, and it is. There's a track here that it's got to be on. I gotta figure out why is it not going down all the way?
Hello.
Hello, hon.
Where are you?
I'm gonna pause. Wife's coming. All right, a couple things before the wife stopped in. I had stopped the video. Had the window in, adjusted it. You have to raise it up and then tighten these screws here. So went over that. Now, one thing I did wrong, and it always happens, and you figure it out, was up here I used screws that were 3/4 of an inch long. I found out the window wouldn't go all the way down. Did a little research and it was hitting the screw, so I replaced these two with a 1/2 inch long. So it's 1/4 20 1/2 inch, because it was hitting the regulator and it wouldn't go down all the way. So now I'm getting ready to put this piece of weather stripping in, and I happened to break my tab off when I was pushing it down. I guess it was rusted, came off. So I measured where I got to stop. Thing is, windows in, you push this down. You got to get it into the channel. And I'm getting ready to measure it because I got to cut it to fit. And you want it a real tight fit when you cut it. So I got to cut about an inch off. 1 or 2, I could probably push the whole inch down in there because I don't have my stop in there. The other thing you can see is I don't have yet this piece of weather stripping that holds this piece in. You got to kind of bend the metal, get it to fit in every place, right? It's really not hard, but normally I get the one with the chrome. I didn't do that this time. I bought this. It's so-so compared to what I'm used to using with the chrome ones, because the chrome, you can move the metal strip that helps it. This one's got metal inside, and you gotta kind of pinch it to get it right. Still a tight fit. I'm gonna have to work on that. Some things you got to do is with this guy, you got to make sure that it is wide enough for the window to go in, or it's going to be real tight. Which it is right now, and I'll fix that. I'm going to pause and show you a little dandy trick. So this is going to be a recap of some of the things I figured out doing this. I used my own hardware for here, and I didn't realize on this screw, 1/2 inch was a little too long. It hit this regulator. Didn't seem to hit that one because I had that in there, but it did hit this one, so I had to go to a 3/8 screw here. Not a big deal, but it was binding going down. It took me a little bit to figure out. I had one here that was way too long. I went to 1/2 inch. It was all good. And this one had to go 3/8. That was it on that. I don't know if everybody's going to have that problem. It could just be these regulators, the way they're made. Other thing is, remember when you're putting in this channel in here that the window screws to, the longer end, if you look, these screws are offset. On these Chevy trucks, the one that has the longer end goes to this side of the door. Now you saw the way I did it. Did the regulator, dropped the window in, goes down, there's a little ledge it sat on. I put this guy in next, got him fitted, slid the window into this channel, pulled it up, put this guy in and rested the window on it, screwed it. After you get it all in, that's when you put this piece in. And with mine, when I was sliding it down in the channel, there's a clip that this comes down and it's supposed to sit on, and that stops it from moving, stops it from going. So when you roll the window up and down, it's not going to slide down. So if yours is sliding down, that it's either not in the clip or the clip's broken. If the clip's broken, what I did, because I've already rebuilt this door, I wasn't going to cut it open and fix the clip. I just used a little of weather stripping adhesive. Didn't use a lot. Just put a couple of dabs in this deal. It's not up here. It's just down there to hold it from sliding down. This way, if I need to, I could pull it and break it. It's not that, I don't have it in there so bad because when you go to take the window out, it's a lot easier if this is not there. So I had to glue it. I know. But I didn't want to cut the door back open to fix it. You could put a screw through here and set it so it stops on it. Or what I was going to do is I was going to put a set screw on the other side so it hits it and doesn't go down. But I didn't do anything. I used a little of this. I cheated. Not really cheating. I used it. There was something else. Oh yeah, don't forget to tape your paint so you don't scratch it. And remember I told you about this in the beginning of the video? This is where this piece goes in here, right? And the problem is it's a real tight fit. The reason why I said check your spacing if you buy the $40 version of these spacings are supposed to be 5-inch centers. Mine was 5 1/8. These clips don't move 1/8, right? I tried moving them. They're really tight in there. It's got a channel that they snap in, so there's not a lot of movement, right? And it looks like I got 4 of these, and each one was exactly the same off in the same spots. So I think it was a jig. Problem was, when I did the other door, there was no way I could get these to clip. I can get 1 to clip, maybe 2 at the most, but that was it. The other problem I was having, these clips are so damn tough, I couldn't get them into the holes. They were crushing. And I even tried just taking it and pushing it in. So what I winded up doing on the other door, I took the clips off, and I used the magical weather stripping glue. Yeah, I know. But they were already, when I got them, the ones that I took off were glued on. No big deal. It's good to have these, keep the doors from rattling, keeps the water, some of the water out of the door, and it just makes it quieter. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull the clips off because I don't know if you can see it. This thing got mangled, me trying to push it on. There was no way. There's no way I could get these to fit in. So if you can buy the $40 set, be leery. They might not fit into the holes. And I wasn't going to mess the holes up to make this fit. Why should I mess up my door to make this fit? So I took the clips off and I glued them in. And I'll be doing that the same with this. Remember, when you put these in, you're not going to be able to see this, but if you see this angle right here, this piece fits in between the weather stripping and the door. It doesn't go inside the weather stripping, it goes in between the weather stripping and the door. Once you get this in, you're going to need this handy dandy tool. So I had to do it on the other side because you're going to be squeezing this in to fit it. You're going to want to take this and push it back out. Otherwise, you're going to have a tight spot and your door's going to grab in that spot. 3/4 of an inch works really good. What I do is I just push this in, squeeze it together, slide this in first, and then put it in. Now, normally if they have the clips, once you get it in there, you can push on the window and push these down and they'll just snap in. Amazon, wherever you can get them. These little glass tools for working on glass and doors and stuff, great. They work really good when you're trying to push these clips in because you can get down in here, push it down, and if these were in the right spot, they snap in real good. They're real cheap. You can get them from Amazon or any of your auto parts places. So that's it. Those are my tips. I use graphite to give it a little extra sliding. I had to push this all the way this way because the tightness between these two, the thickness of this made it real tight. And I was wondering why the window was real hard. And all I had to do was push this over. I checked the other door. I might have just naturally pushed it over because the other door didn't do that. And now the window goes up, it goes down. This is going to be my wife's side, so I didn't want her to be fighting it. But all good. These are a little tighter than the 50-year-old, the 60-year-old ones I took out. They'll wear out. You noticed this little blackness right here? That is the dry graphite that I sprayed in it. Those are my tips. Hope they help you. Hope you see how to do the door. A lot of people slide the glass down. They put this in first, put the glass in second, the big glass. I put the big glass in first, and I put this in second. It works a lot easier. Do the whole door with no issues. Should take you about an hour or less. With issues, you could be a few hours into it. But I hope that helps you if you're getting ready to do these doors. I know this knowledge is disappearing, and I hope it helps somebody in the future. Have a great day. Bye. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is try to line the holes up without dropping the window down. Like that. Pause.